Good evening, this is Brass Tacks and Zaka Jacob. The Prime Minister attended the 60th anniversary celebrations of the Central Bureau of Investigation and said that central agencies do not have any shackles anymore, especially when it comes to high-profile corruption cases. He has asked CBI officers to go ahead and do their job without fear or favour. But the opposition alleges that agencies like the CBI, IT, ED, etc. have been used for political vendetta purposes. Which of these two narratives will the people of India, the electorate, buy going into 2024? That's going to be our big focus tonight here on Brass Tacks. But first, let me play out the story of what the Prime Minister said and the reactions from the opposition to that.
ये लोग आपका ध्यान भटकाते रहेंगे, लेकिन आपको अपने काम पर फोकस रखना है। कोई भी भ्रष्टाचारी बचना नहीं चाहिए।
The message is loud and clear. Prime Minister Modi is throwing his weight behind the CBI for cracking down on the corrupt. He said corruption is the biggest roadblock to democracy and it's CBI's responsibility to free India from it.
आज देश में करप्शन के खिलाफ कार्रवाई करने के लिए राजनीति की इच्छा शक्ति में कोई कमी नहीं है। आपको कहीं पर भी हिचकने, कहीं रुकने की जरूरत नहीं है। बरसों बरस तक उन्होंने भी एक इकोसिस्टम बनाया है। इकोसिस्टम अक्सर उनके काले कारनामों को कवर देने के लिए
He even took a veiled dig at the opposition's allegation of the agency being misused by the centre.
मैं जानता हूं जिनके खिलाफ एक्शन ले रहे हैं वो बहुत ताकतवर लोग हैं। बरसों बरस तक वो सरकार का सिस्टम का हिस्सा रहे हैं। संभव है कई जगह किसी राज्य में आज भी विस्तृत सत्ता का हिस्सा हो।
This is the second time in a week that Prime Minister Modi has made a BJP versus Bhrashtachari speech. Earlier, he had claimed that there is a pro-corrupt coalition that is being propped up by the Congress.
कुछ दलों ने मिलकर भ्रष्टाचारी बचाओ अभियान छेड़ा हुआ है। भ्रष्टाचार में लिप्त जितने भी चेहरे हैं वो सब एक साथ एक मंच पर आ रहे हैं।
So has Prime Minister Modi set the tone for the 2024 Lok Sabha elections?
Recently, 14 opposition parties had moved the Supreme Court against the alleged misuse of CBI and ED by the government. Let's break this down in terms of numbers. Now, when the Congress-led UPA was in power from 2004 to 2014, a total of 43 opposition leaders were investigated. In 9 years of NDA rule, 118 opposition leaders have been probed. Under UPA, 29 Congress leaders or allies of the Congress party at that time were also investigated. But since 2014, only 6 BJP leaders have been investigated by the CBI and ED. So who are these big names from the opposition who are currently under the CBI scanner? Manish Sisodia, the Aam Aadmi Party MLA, former Delhi Deputy Chief Minister, who's currently in jail over the excise policy scam. Another Aam Aadmi Party leader is former Delhi Health Minister Satyendra Jain. He's also in jail in an alleged money laundering case. BRS MLC and Telangana Chief Minister's daughter K. Kavita has also been questioned by the CBI as well as the Enforcement Directorate in connection with the excise policy scam. RJD founder Lalu Prasad Yadav and several members of his family, including his son Tejashwi, who's the Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar, have been charge-sheeted in the alleged land for jobs scam. Karnataka Congress President DK Shivkumar has been quizzed by the CBI in the disproportionate assets case, and TMC MP Abhishek Banerjee has been questioned by the CBI in the coal smuggling case. Now, while the opposition has been questioning the CBI's impartiality, here's the conviction rate of the agency, and with every year of the Modi government, it has actually been going up. According to the Central Vigilance Commission, from 2015 till 2017, the CBI's conviction rate was hovering between 65 and 66. Then in 2018, it increased to 68%. Then in 2019, it increased to 69%. And in 2020, it was nearly 70%, which means almost 3 out of 4 cases that the CBI was investigating, it was able to get a conviction. But in 2020, perhaps because of COVID or for other reasons, it dipped from 70% to 67.5% in the year 2021. So then the big question is, you heard the Prime Minister just last week when he spoke at the BJP headquarters and also today at the CBI 60th anniversary celebrations, making corruption the number one issue going into the 2024 elections. Now, for starters, it will help the BJP puncture the opposition's claims that the recent crackdown by central agencies is political vendetta. It turns the tables on the opposition, painting them as a coalition of the corrupt, or as the Prime Minister said, Bhrishtachar or Bhrishtachari Bachao Andolan. He wants to highlight his government being untainted and not facing any big corruption charges in the last 9 years that they've been in power, and also to project himself to India and to the world that there is zero tolerance for corruption. So let me bring in our guests. Is the CBI being unshackled, as the Prime Minister said today, or is it being used for political purposes? Shehzad Poonawala is BJP National Spokesperson, Sujata Paul, Congress Spokesperson, Shantanu Sen is former Joint Director of CBI, Arun Anand is Consulting Editor with First Post. Shehzad, let me start with you first. The opposition is alleging that in the last 9 years of the Modi government, over 100 opposition leaders have been prosecuted by the CBI, whereas the number for the BJP is only 6. Therefore, in their view, this is nothing but an instrument of political vendetta.
Go to 2004 to 14. The people who are being prosecuted by the CBI, Lalu, Samajwadi Party, DMK, Congress, NCP, it is the same lot, and the same lot is being prosecuted even now, because whether it is in power or out of power, their charitra is to do corruption. Now, this is not the editorial line of a channel that we have to balance one way or the other. I mean, if somebody is doing corruption, they are caught. Let's assume, however, that for argument's sake, that the CBI or the ED is acting in a vindictive manner. In the last 9 years, they've not been able to go to one court and say that, look, action should have been taken here, but it's not been taken, or that this action was not due and they have taken it, and therefore this is vindictive proceeding, like the CBI was called caged parrot. Point number 2.
Shehzad, once again, CBI, ED, IT, etc. are investigating agencies. The court is to come to a judgment on whether the investigation has been done in a proper manner or not. The opposition is saying, अगर इन्वेस्टिगेशन ही नहीं हो रहा है तो कोर्ट जाने से क्या फायदा?
No, Zaka, first of all, even the investigating agency, even the summon issued by the investigating agency can be challenged in a court of law. Lalu's son went to challenge the summons. K. Kavita went to challenge the summons. The Supreme Court did not quash the summons and said that you have to present yourself for the investigation. So let's be very clear. Every proceeding of the agency is scrutinized by a court of law. Today, Manish Sisodia has not got relief from a court of law and has been remanded to judicial custody till 17th. 2 days ago, the order that came, which Ananya Bharadwaj broke on your channel, it said that he's the architect, not an observation, a finding of the court. Prima facie, 90 crores, 100 crores has been taken. And the Congress celebrates that action on them. Now, secondly, let me just give you some aspect. ED's conviction rate, by the way, is not low. It's 96% in PMLA cases. The 25 cases that have gone to trial, 24 the ED has been able to get convictions only under the Modi government. Before
no,
this,
I think
2014
the opposition has a different figure on the ED's
so
conviction rate. It's less than a quarter.
That's why I'm putting this figure on your table. Which is 2005 to 14, 0 convictions of ED. 2014 to 23, 24 convictions out of 25 cases, which means a 96% track rate. It's on the ED's performance has a performance page. You can see it out there. One more figure. The ED only raided 112 times during the UPA. Today, 3,000 searches were conducted, and therefore the money that is attached, and that too is challenged, is over 1 lakh crore. Now, my argument is, should we not do...
One second.
And just one last figure, one very important figure.
Let me ask Sujata Paul.
The number of cases, the percentage of cases on MPs, MLAs is only 2.9%.
Sujata Paul, Shehzad is saying that out of the cases that have gone into trial, out of 25, 24 they've managed to secure conviction in. His contention is the BJP and Mr. Modi's government have given a free rein to institutions like the CBI and the ED, as any government should. They are not being beset by any kind of political considerations. Why would that be a problem? Sujata Paul.
Zaka, first of all, the PMLA Act came in 2005. And after that, cases were registered. So, up to 31st January 2023, 5,902 cases have been registered. Now, out of these, if 25 cases, in 25 cases, conviction has happened. Most of these cases were filed during the UPA time. And Shehzad Poonawalla should go and check all the cases and he'll come to know what I'm talking about. So 24 cases, if there are convictions in those cases are the ones which had ripened from the time of the UPA, where you have shown the data. I will not go into those details. That maximum number of cases which were filed against the Congress and its allies was 29, while now against the BJP is only 6. So maximum number of cases are being registered against the BJP even now.
Ma'am, the point that's being made is, in the cases that have gone into trial, the ED has managed to secure conviction. Look at the conviction rate of the CBI itself. In 2015, it was 65%. By 2020, it went up to almost 70%. So if there's a 5% jump in ability to convict cases that have gone into trial, that should be a good thing.
Zaka, what I'm saying is that the number of cases is 5,902. The sample that we have in front of us is of 25 cases. 25. So that means बाकी को लटका के रखो और लटका के तब तक रखो क्योंकि कुछ भी नहीं है. So unless the opposition comes on the same page as the Prime Minister, you will continue to harass them through ED, CBI, IT.
The Latkana is not just with the agency, it's also a process of law, as you very well know in this country. It takes years and years for the wheels of justice to grind. The process is the punishment, as they say. But I want to ask Shantanu Sen, former Joint Director of CBI, from being called caged parrot, which I assume the court was saying that, it's being caged by the government or it's being caged by political considerations, to now being said that it's an instrument of political vendetta. Neither of these positions is covering the CBI or agencies like the ED in glory. I mean, the CBI should be ashamed of the fact that, as Sujata Paul said, if the ED has filed 5,000 cases of which they're able to get only 24 convictions, that's a shame, Mr. Sen.
I agree, but CBI is neither. It's neither a caged parrot nor it is shackled. The charge was made by the court off the cuff remark. It was no judgment. I don't know why you people take it so seriously. If it were made in a judgment and it had remained, then I would have understood.
I think it was in a judgment, Mr. Sen. If my memory serves me right.
No, I don't think it was a judgment.
It wasn't a judgment.
It was you can look at it. It was not a judgment. You can name the judgment. As far as I remember, Mr. Lodha, Justice Lodha, made that remark during a hearing.
Okay.
So it's not a serious remark. CBI has been contained, yes. What did Mr. Rajiv Gandhi do when he issued a single directive that CBI should not investigate decision-making officers? What did Bajpayee do when he amended the CVC Act, saying the same thing? Court quashed both. Now, this government has amended the Prevention of Corruption Act and clearly said CBI will not investigate anybody who makes decisions. We will tell CBI to investigate. So get this fact straight. First, CBI is investigating corruption cases when the appointing authority and the government is saying this is a corruption case, you investigate. CBI is investigating the case honestly, but it so happens that CBI sometimes strays. In our time, CBI was forbidden to talk about a case under investigation. CBI was forbidden to even arrest public servants. Mr. D.P. Kohli's circulars are there for all to see. Because Mr. Kohli, the first director of CBI, maintained that unless a man is convicted, he should not be smirched. CBI is not following that. It's very unfortunate. CBI should go back to its roots and do investigations silently and quietly. Now, the fact that CBI is investigating more corruption cases and getting higher convictions is a very good thing. Corruption is something which is blatantly common in democracies, and the CBI as an institution which deals with corruption has done it. Formerly, CBI was also dealing with, as you remember, terrorism.
Okay.
And CBI did such wonderful work in anti-terrorism work. CBI government created an NIA, and the states agreed that they should join the NIA, and they gave up their powers. So these are good institutions created by the government.
No.
But
The point.
publicity now.
I don't
Publicity
agree.
now.
I don't agree with this contention that both CBI and ED have covered themselves in glory. Yes, they were independent institutions that were formed with specific purposes. Like I said, when one government was in power, they were being called shackled and cage parrot and so on. When the other government is in power, they are being called instruments of political vendetta. But be that as it may, Arun, I want to move on from the legal argument or the prosecutorial argument to the political argument, and that is twice in a week now, Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister, has made corruption the sort of leitmotif of his attacks on the opposition. He said that in the BJP headquarters inauguration that happened last week, and he's saying that again now. Again, trying to draw the distinction that on the BJP side, there are no, corruption allegations or there are no corruption charges against any major BJP leaders. Whereas on the other side, you have this, as he put it, Bhrishtachariyon ko bachao andolan, right? Now, my point is this something that has resonance in the country like it did in 2012, 2013 when you had India Against Corruption, and corruption was said to be one of the biggest reasons that brought down the UPA government from power. Is this issue as hot and as resonant in 2023-24 as it was in 2012-2013?
Zaka, you have raised a very pertinent point, and I think it was very relevant and it resonated in 2014. It resonated in 2019. It is going to resonate in 2024, and even if this government makes a comeback, then it is going to resonate even in 2029 also. See, the reason is because what Modi has done. Modi has done a very significant thing. Prime Minister Modi has broken an unwritten code which was there in Indian politics, that any party which comes to power will not touch certain politicians or people at a certain level in other parties. And this was the unwritten code. And it was like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours.
Yeah.
And people knew this. But people were frustrated because they did not had a choice about it. Now Modi has broken that unwritten code, and that is why you see all this mayhem which is happening. That how dare this government can break this unwritten code, because all the parties before Modi had come to some extent, basically, they were involved in this. Having said that, I also want to bring in another point in this. In 1993, the NN Vora committee report had come, which had talked about, the nexus between criminals, politicians, and bureaucrats.
Okay.
And then Supreme Court had asked to set up a committee, and Supreme Court had set up a committee in 1997 to look into this matter. So, but no government had, the will to, counter this. I think what Modi government is doing, they have the will to counter it, they have the numbers to counter it, and they're trying to counter it. Okay. And of course, when you break such unwritten codes, the accusations of political vendetta will, naturally be thrown at you.
No, so Shehzad, the petition that's been filed recently in the Supreme Court, this is 14 opposition parties. What they are alleging in that petition is that when the UPA was in power for 10 years, 2004 to 2014, 43 opposition leaders were investigated. Whereas in 9 years of the NDA rule, 118 opposition leaders have been investigated and only 6 BJP leaders have been investigated. Now, the numbers seem so skewed. This is their contention in the application before the Supreme Court. The numbers are so skewed against the opposition and in favor of the BJP that they are led to believe that these agencies are being used for political purposes.
Zaka, first of all, this is like saying that now every time the CBI or the investigating agency has to proceed against a corrupt person, it must necessarily find somebody corrupt on the other side, otherwise it can't proceed.
But there are no corrupt people on the other side. Virupakshappa was, he
was caught by the Lokayukta. So the matter never needed to reach the CBI.
He went to court and he got bail.
Let me frame one argument, then you can probably come in. All I'm trying to say is that, look, if there is any standing that they have, that there are people who are corrupt in the BJP and they have evidence against those people, then they can go file a criminal complaint. By the way, the Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi national level case did not start by the agencies taking cognizance. It started when Subramaniam Swamy went to a trial court and the court ordered a case against them. They went right up to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court said, no, we will not let you free. You will have to face the trial. So are the courts also vindictive, or are they also part of this system? Secondly,
no, but this 113 to 6, that is a fair ratio. I mean, that's like Sachin Tendulkar's batting average and, tail-ender's batting average.
No, rather I would say that this is evidence of the fact that the agencies are today going and prosecuting the corrupt without any fear or favor. I'll give you an example. Lalu Prasad Yadav, for instance, he went to jail when there was not a BJP government, it was a Congress, it was a United Front government. Then he got convicted when there was a Congress government. He got convicted subsequently 4 times. It took 34 years for him to be convicted. Now, these are the same people. Narasimha Rao got convicted. That had nothing with the BJP. There are other leaders of the Congress who have been embroiled in many cases. That has nothing to do with the BJP. Samajwadi Party was hounded with a disproportionate assets case by the Congress Party. So what can the BJP do if these cases have started off all prior to the BJP coming to power? Secondly, my limited point is, if there is any malicious prosecution, why haven't they been able to even get a court observation? Let's say Shantanu ji is right and it's a court observation or a court, it's actually an order. But if the court has that view, it would have said that it is acting like a caged parrot or a caged hawk or a political vindictive tool today. But it has not said that in the last 9 years.
Paul, the 2 cases that come to light straight away are that of Satyendra Jain and Manish Sisodia. Now, the dictum in law has always been that bail is the norm and jail is the exception. Now, for Mr. Jain's case, he's been in jail for the last 10 months. Multiple times he's moved different courts seeking bail, and the courts have found merit to keep him in jail. Similar is the case with Mr. Sisodia. He's been in jail for the last couple of months now. They have not found merit to even give him bail. So even the courts are recognizing that something heinous has happened, or these people are influential enough that if they are let off or they're given bail, they could tamper with evidence or influence witnesses. So something serious has happened, is something that even the courts are taking cognizance of.
That's a brilliant question. Courts go by what is placed before them as evidence. One. Yeah. Secondly, the Prime Minister spoke about the ecosystem being very powerful, and was he trying to say that the CBI is very weak? But here, I would remind you of the night of 25th October 2018, when the CBI headquarters was surrounded. Do you remember why? Because Alok Verma and Rakesh Asthana, the blue-eyed boy of Mr. Modi, were at loggerheads with each other. Was that something that was being done over there to ensure that CBI was in Mr. Modi's control? That is a question that I leave for you to investigate and answer.
But ma'am, that case went up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court found no merit in the allegations that were made by one gentleman against the other. The court eventually, the Supreme Court no less, eventually, quashed that matter.
I respect the Supreme Court, but is that what should have happened that night? That is what I'm asking.
What should have happened or not happened is not proof of any wrongdoing.
That is what a caged parrot is. That's what a caged parrot is. Why was it surrounded the manner in which it was?
Ma'am, if there was merit in that case, just 10 seconds. If there was merit in that case, and I'm not for a moment doubting, what you're saying, but if there was merit in that case, the Supreme Court would have found merit in that case. The Supreme Court would have passed appropriate orders. But the Supreme Court completely quashed that case. It acquitted the people concerned.
No, Zaka, right at the beginning. No, please, it's my turn. Right at the beginning, I said that as far as the courts are concerned, they will work on the evidence which is placed before them, and that's all fair. But what I'm asking you is it right to surround an institution which should be independent in the manner in which it is done?
Let Shehzad respond. Yeah,
I'll just, let's get to the brass tacks by just one line and it will decode everything. They're saying CBI ED is being misused. Lalu Prasad has been convicted 4 times. Sujata, does the Congress party officially believe through you, because they're an official spokesperson, that the RJD and Lalu Prasad are corrupt?
Look, as far as the case is concerned, where did it start? When did it start?
There you go.
That is what I'm asking you.
Is he corrupt?
We have been extremely fair.
Is he corrupt? Yes or no?
We have been extremely fair. Right? They were our allies.
Is he corrupt?
They were our allies.
That's not the point. Is he corrupt?
So has he been convicted or not?
Yes, 4 times.
So that's where the
Is he corrupt
ends.
by that logic?
But is Conrad Sangma, with 2 seats, you've got to make a government? No, you explain to me. Mr. Amit Shah,
this is the most poorest form of your whataboutery.
No,
This is like
it's not
whataboutery
it.
reaching the lowest
I
level
am
of the bottom of the barrel.
To the point. Conrad Sagma
Is
was
Lalu
accused
Prasad
by
corrupt?
the
He's
Prime
convicted. You can't
Minister-
have anybody else in that equation
by the
because nobody
Prime
else is
Minister
convicted.
and
Is
Amit
Lalu Prasad
Shah
corrupt?
as being
Does the
corrupt.
Congress believe that?
And he's formed a government with him.
Now let me
Mukul Roy,
articulate
Narda
my larger
scam,
point.
One second.
Narda scam,
She's just
Sarda
rambling.
scam, all these scams. No, this is not
Okay.
happening.
She's just
All right,
rambling
These
on.
are
Siddhartha
all
Paul,
Some of
Siddhartha
what I
Paul,
wanted
give
to
me 1
arrive
second.
at.
Give me 1 second, ma'am. Give me
But
1
all
second.
these
just
people
arrive
No,
at
but
the point.
Shehzad,
They've all been
there is a
let me
point.
arrive at-
One second, ma'am. 1 second, 1 second. There is a point that opposition,
me
every
just
time
complete
you're
this
on
chain
this
of
debate,
thought.
1 second, every time you're on this debate, they make this point that Hemanta Biswa Sarma had cases, he joined the BJP, the BJP washing machine cleans him off. Suvendu Adhikari joins the BJP, again the cases against him somehow disappear. Why is it that every time somebody joins the BJP from the opposition, the cases against him or her are either dropped or diluted?
I promise to address this, but let me complete my chain of thought. When a person has been convicted 4 times and you have the Congress representative who's speaking so much about political vendetta, can't take a stand that Lalu is a corrupt man. This shows that their commitment is not towards the integrity of the agency or the independence of the agencies. Zaka, let's
Ma'am, 1 second. Let's one at a time, please. One at a time. Yeah, I will get him to answer that as well. Plus the question I asked him. Yeah, now go ahead.
It's not about the independence of the agencies. It is about politics of convenience and the coalition of the corrupt. So that has been established now. They will say Manish Sisodia pe sahi hua, but Sonia Gandhi or Lalu pe galat hua. Now let's come to your question. Hemanta Biswa Sarma joined the BJP in 2015. In 2018, I have shown you, I have the news report, I'll show it to you again, the CBI called him. After that, the matter went to court and there has been no proceeding that has found him guilty by a court of law. The court of law has taken cognizance of this. But I am saying the reverse. If you have proof of Hemanta Biswa Sarma from the last 6 years or 7 years or 8 years, why haven't they gone and prosecuted him? Or forget that, they used to say about Mukul Roy. Mukul Roy, the proceedings didn't stop when he joined our party, but today he's in the TMC. Will they kick him out of the TMC? Or let's talk about the other leaders they're talking about. They spoke about Suvendu Adhikari, right? Suvendu Adhikari, the TMC used to scream from the top of their voices that there's nothing wrong against him. So if he was so corrupt, why was he with them for so long? And only when he joins the BJP, that time they see the corruption.
Okay.
This is hypocritical.
So Arun, no, 1 second, ma'am. Arun Anand, I listed out a whole bunch of names from Manish Sisodia to K. Kavita to Satyendra Jain to DK Shiv Kumar. This whole thing that the BJP is saying that, look, we are basically correcting the wrongs of the last 60 years, the corruption that we've witnessed in the 10 years that UPA was in power, all of that is now coming to the fore. But again, I keep coming back to this point. When Virupakshappa and his son are caught red-handed taking bribes, yes, he goes to the High Court, he manages to get bail, and then the Lokayukta court has to, bring charges against him, and finally he has been arrested, not before he's given some kind of a hero's welcome in his own constituency. All of these leaders from the opposition who joined the BJP, somehow the charges against them, if not diluted, at least the case goes off into a back burner. So when the opposition says ki हम सब खराब हैं, हम सब भ्रष्ट हैं, लेकिन बीजेपी वाले सब मतलब दूध के दूध और पानी का पानी हैं, then does that necessarily add up? Or is it that investigating agencies now have this bent of mind that, look, when it comes from a particular political affiliation, go slow. When it comes from another political affiliation, don't go slow.
I think, the larger issue, to answer your question, the way elections are fought and the political parties are run in our country, I think, it leaves not much scope for, very clean politics or very clean governance. However, what matters, so, generally at the mid-level and at the grassroots level, you tend to find cutting across parties, you tend to find a lot of people basically who have come to, it's a fact, which stares in our face every day, that people have taken politics as a profession where they want to make some quick bucks, and that is done through basically, corruption, and that goes cutting across all the parties. But what matters is that I think the top leadership in certain parties, they endorse that, like it has happened in, a lot of parties which are now facing the heat. But the top leadership in parties like BJP, they don't neither endorse that, and they try to weed out that corruption within the party also. So, but then there are certain political compulsions. So I think it's a larger question until, we continue to fight elections like this, until we continue to, have this kind of a political structure. I think it's very difficult to, but still I think the intent of the BJP leadership largely seems right, And the difference between BJP and the opposition is that in the opposition, even the top leadership seems to be, endorsing, the people.
I'll give Shantanu Sen the final word. Again, it comes back to the structure of the CBI and the Enforcement Directorate. The Enforcement Directorate, of course, comes under the Finance Ministry. The CBI comes under the Prime Minister's Office, the Department of Personnel and Training. Is it time to free up these investigations? I mean, for namesake, yes, they are independent agencies, they are independent investigating agencies, but the fact is that there is always political pressures. Is it time to free up these agencies in a way that they are only answerable to the courts of law in this country?
Before I take that question, I must say that this question of intent must not be put in here. I'm sorry, Mr. Anand, you should not have used the word intent. Number two, I take strong objection to the suggestion all the time that you go to the court and get your case going. Why should he go to the court? The CBI and the ED should investigate the charges and investigate them as appropriately, as sufficiently, as fast as it is investigating other cases. This argument doesn't hold water.
Okay.
As far as the independence of the CBI is concerned, Mr. Raka, you are absolutely right. CBI is absolutely independent in investigation. Why did CBI make a name in the first 40 years of its inception? Because CBI could choose and investigate the corrupt. That power has been taken away from the CBI. Why don't you understand that? Mr. Gandhi did it, Mr. Bajpayee did it, and Mr. Damodar, our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi has done it. CBI cannot investigate corruption on its own. CBI will always investigate on orders. Where CBI has gone wrong is publicity.
Okay.
CBI must stop giving publicity to its investigations. Only that will give CBI a picture of fairness.
Okay, Shehzad, final word, 30 seconds.
With all due respect to the former officer, I mean, there are two ways a CBI probe, in his opinion, can then be started if it is not probing. One is that, according to him, the government initiates the probe and tells the CBI to probe something, which is not the case. CBI takes an autonomous decision. But the other one is when the courts direct the CBI to take cognizance and start a matter.
No,
sir, please,
CBI
sir,
does not.
I am also a law Sir, please, I have also studied law. I have due respect for your experience. No, sir. You can't speak for me. This is not. Are you a partisan spokesperson or are you an analyst? No, are you a partisan spokesperson or are you an analyst?
No, I'm talking about
if you
the
want to wear the
Corruption
hat
Act
of a political party, you're welcome to, sir. But you have to allow me to speak. You can't subdue me.
I'm not doing that.
No, you are subduing me.
Mr.
Zaka, I don't want to make
I also have limited time, so sir, with due respect, 30 seconds, I got to wrap up, Shehzad. Okay, got it. 30 seconds, Shehzad, let's wrap up, yeah.
No, the only other way for you, if you have the proof, is to go and activate a probe through the courts. And the criminal complaint is one of the oldest ways to start a criminal proceeding if the police or the agency is not doing its job.
Okay.
And you should have faith in the courts. Are you telling me an officer like you has no faith in the courts? Are you like Rahul Gandhi going to wear black clothes on the next debate?
All right.
So let's not undermine the independence of the courts.
I have to wrap up. I'm completely out of time. Whether this becomes the single biggest determinant of the 2024 narrative, as it were, that I think we'll have to wait and see. But it's very clear from the Prime Minister's speech twice in a week, first in Delhi and then, of course, what he said today at the CBI 60th anniversary celebrations. He believes that the choice before the people of India is very clear. You have this coalition of the corrupt, as he put it last week, on the one side, and you have his government, which is waging a war against that corruption. Which of these two narratives the people of India will buy, we'll see. But let's